experience a Turkish bath. Pamper yourself with pleasure. Surrender to Turkish living. Savor traditional healthy cuisines. Embrace your dreams.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Global Village. I'm your host, Buddy Kunana. Now, this program focuses on international affairs, culture, heritage, tourism, and also highlights the connectivity of the Philippines to the rest of the world. Now, tonight's a nice show because we're featuring a country that I actually visit quite often and is a very beautiful one at that, none other than Turkey. And together with me are some special guests who are part of the Pacific Dialogue Foundation Incorporated. And this foundation works to promote Turkish culture and tourism and also works in other fields like to bridge international friendship and foster peace and understanding and cooperation among people. So excellent guest tonight. Joining me is Dr. Hans Arslan, and he's the president of the PDF, or Philippine Pacific Dialogue Foundation. So, Dr. Hans, welcome to Global Village.
Thank you.
You know, as I mentioned in my opening spiel, that you know, it's nice to feature Turkey because it's a country very close to my heart. Because I often go to Turkey, and I think it's a wonderful country, and I waste no opportunity to really share with viewers how amazing and beautiful and stunning your country is. So, but before we jump in the topic of Turkey, let's talk about you. Who is Dr. Hans Arslan?
Yes, my name is Jihangir Arslan, but my Filipino friends can't pronounce my name correctly, so I prefer to be called as Hans in the Philippines, and I have been living in this country since 2003.
Okay.
Already 14 years, yeah.
What brought you to the Philippines, Hans?
Well, actually, I am formerly teacher. I taught in Russia in 1998 to 2003, worked for 5 years, and I can speak Russian. Then some friends suggested me if you want to go and teach in the Southern Asia, and the opportunity came from the Philippines. So I came 2003 to teach here. So since 2014, I have been with this foundation, and I was able to finish my master and PhD in the Philippines.
Excellent. So really, you've become a resident of the Philippines, and
Yes.
so long a time. No, we
Yeah.
arrived here 2003, and before you know it, you're here 14 years.
Yeah, 14 years, yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah.
And now you're the president of the Pacific Dialogue Foundation. Now, quickly, because I know that Selim, your vice president, will go in depth about the
Yes.
PDF in a while. But quickly, what is the PDF all about?
Yeah, it's, the foundation is established in 2011 with the Filipino and Turkish volunteers to seek peace, dialogue on interfaith and intercultural area,
Yes.
to foster relationship, yeah.
And you guys also take a lot of opportunities to promote Turkish
Yes,
culture,
of
tourism,
course,
and all
of
that.
course, yes, yes. We have been organizing trips to Turkey to promote our culture, our own culture, and also bring some Turkish delegates to Philippines also to promote Philippine culture, so vice versa.
Okay. Okay, let's talk about Turkey before we talk about the Pacific Dialogue Foundation. Tell us a bit about your country.
Well, our country is, as they said, is a melting pot. You know, all the nations, all the cultures. It's a very old civilization, and it's where East and West meet. You know, some part of Turkey on Asia and some part in Europe.
Literally.
Yes, yes.
The divide between Asia and Europe is in Istanbul.
Yes, Istanbul, yeah. And also Turkey, for our Christian friends, is a biblical country. And a lot of civilization and ancient civilization were living centuries, 1,000 years in Turkey. So that's one of the reasons why we have been also organizing trip to Turkey from the Philippines, because Philippines is a Catholic country, so it is very attractive for our Filipino friends to visit Turkey.
Yes. And one of the major sites in Turkey for pilgrimages really is in Ephesus.
Yes.
Because the Virgin Mary, as the story goes, she actually from Israel,
Yes.
she traveled and she settled for
Yes,
some years
for
in
quite
Ephesus.
some time in
Yes.
Ephesus. Yes, it is just maybe 10 kilometers to Ephesus. Ephesus Downs, so it's just climbing the mountain. It is also just 40 kilometers to my hometown.
Oh wow! Okay,
Yeah,
so
so I'm
that's a special place.
I'm luckier than more Christians, maybe.
Yes, you know, Hans, the title of this show is really crossroads of civilization.
Yeah.
And really, that is really what Turkey is all about, because it really is where East meets West.
Yes.
And such a fascinating history. Like anyone who's been to Istanbul will say that it's such an amazing city. It's not. I mean, to go to Istanbul and spend a few days is a tragedy, I think, because there's so much to offer. The
Yeah.
city has so much to offer.
Yeah, Istanbul may be worth to let's say a week visit. So you can see a lot of things, the palaces, the ancient civilizations, houses, ruins, the cemeteries, and also the Bosphorus cruise. It's
No,
really,
it's
yeah.
absolutely a beautiful
it's
city, one of the
beautiful
most
place.
beautiful cities
Yes.
in the world, I think.
Yeah, as you know, formerly it is Constantinople also.
Yes.
yeah.
And that really is what makes, I think, Turkey very interesting for,
Yeah.
for historians, for travelers like
yeah.
myself, and for people just interested in culture and heritage.
Yeah.
Because, as you said, it's a melting pot.
Definitely. Istanbul conquered by Ottoman in 1453. And that time there were also Christians living in our country. And Sultan Mehmet Sumon, the head of the Patriarch, the Orthodox, and said, you are freely, now you are freely can live in my country. So no one will hurt you, no one will touch you. Even just to be sure, I'm going to provide a troop to protect you and your people.
Yes.
So this acceptance or tolerance up to now in Turkey. So you can see a lot of churches. Even 2 years ago, I invited a Protestant pastor from Turkey. A Turkish guy came here. What he mentioned surprised our Filipino brothers and sisters. He said, when I clean my church myself as a pastor, it is in a Muslim neighborhood. The Muslim people coming and helping me. that is really surprised our Filipino Christian brothers and sisters. How come? So it is really beauty of accepting different cultures and tolerance.
Yes, and something I admire about Turkey is I have to say I'm a admirer in many ways of the late president and founder of modern Turkey, no other than Kemal Atatürk. Right? And his name Atatürk actually means the father of Turks. If you can correct me if I'm wrong, it means the father of Turkey or father of Turks. And I think he really went a long way. He really he saw that vision of his, that for there to be peace, for there to be understanding and cooperation among the different peoples of Turkey, it's got to be a secular state.
He did a lot of changes and reform. After Ottoman Empire, he is the one founded Turkey in 1923, and a secular country. And he is always mentioning that peace at home, peace in the world. So until now, I think a lot of followers trying to continue his message.
Absolutely. He's been dead how many years?
1938, more than 70 years now.
Yeah, more than 70 years. And when you go around Istanbul, or Turkey for that matter, you go to establishments, to restaurants, you can still see his picture hung on the walls. And I said, wow, I mean, this man is incredible, has incredible following until today.
A lot of followers, a lot of people still love him. And every year we have been also celebrating his commemorating his death in 10th of November, 1930. So I think Turkish nation can't forget what he had done to our country.
What do you think would be his most valuable contributions to modern Turkey?
So I think by Mustafa Kemal Atatürk became modern and contemporary country as of today. When you visit Turkey, when you see Turkey, you will always say that this country is really maybe from the east, but if you look their life, their practice, they are like living European. That is successfully done by Mustafa Kemal Atatürk. I think if he wouldn't come, if wouldn't found Turkey today would not be as contemporary as today.
He really was the one responsible for the modern Turkey.
The modern changes, reform done by him since 1920s.
Okay. Before we talk about the situation today, let's talk about what other things can people see in Turkey, because I mean, really, your country is littered with beautiful sites, and you have Greek, you have Roman, you have Byzantine. It's hard to know where to start, actually.
When we organize trip from here, Manila to Istanbul, in Istanbul there are palaces to see. Maybe we are just making that 3 days trip in Istanbul, Bosphorus cruise included. Plus, after 3 days, we go to Ephesus,
of course,
Mama Mary's house.
Yes.
That's another destination we had to go. And another place is Cappadocia, of course, the 5th century civilization, Roman civilization. That's a wonderful place also to see. From there, we can also visit Pamukkale, Cotton Castle. So that's another place, UNESCO heritage. And we have also another wonderful city, which is Antalya. That is in the southern part of Turkey. So very beautiful with the beach, with the sea and sightseeing. Another nice place. And of course, when we organize trip, we just don't let our guests only to eat in restaurants. We want really them to feel Turkish hospitality in Turkish houses. So as much as possible, from Istanbul to Cappadocia, Antalya, and Pamukkale, we have been organizing our trip and our meals or lunch, breakfast in Turkish houses.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's the best.
Sometimes even they want to stay also in Turkish houses to really feel Turkish hospitality, Turkish culture.
Hans, as a traveler, I can see the value in that, because of course, it's easy to join a tour and you get to see the
Yes.
sites, but how do you get to really know a country? The only way is to have a dialogue,
Yes.
an exchange with the people. I mean, not the tour guides, not the hotel people, but
Yeah.
real Turks,
Yeah.
and this is how to do it.
If you wouldn't see Turkey, first impression from the Philippines, yes, they are Arabs. There are deserts, camels all around. up to arriving to modern airport, that's your impression actually about Turkey. But after that, seeing that beautiful places, historical places, Hagia Sophia. When you go inside, you will see the Christian images.
I'm glad you brought up the Hagia Sophia, because it's
Yes.
actually, in the old days, during the time of the Byzantine Empire, was it a cathedral? It was once
Yes,
a great cathedral
yes.
of Christendom.
4th century.
Yes.
Yeah, and then it converted into mosque, and then later, I think end of 18th century, converted into museum. So right now it is a respectable place both for Christians and Muslims. I think that's one of the biggest tourist attraction or spot in Turkey.
Okay, let's talk about the situation today in Turkey. You know, it's been in the news, and people watching us now, I'm sure, have seen the reports. You know, there's some instability in Turkey at the moment. Sadly, unfortunately, this kind of thing never used to happen before. I've been going back to Turkey many years. What's going on, Hans?
After the coup, July 15, 26, Turkey entered into a turmoil, unfortunately. There is a instability, political instability, and it's already, I think, 3 times announced a state of emergency by the government. Right now, a lot of people suffering. So far, more than 40,000 people jailed because of this failed coup. And around 2,000 schools shut down, including 17 universities.
17
universities. Those staff, academe of these universities, and teachers of those private schools also were all affected, were their license revoked, teaching license. They were put in jail. Some of them were forced to leave the country, or some of them can't leave because government nowadays canceling the passports of the people. Some people just hiding themselves in Turkey. It's such a bad situation. People say that this is a situation or calamity Turkish nation haven't seen since First World War. So there is a tense right now in Turkey. 50% pro-government people, 50% maybe anti-government people in Turkey. Unfortunately, friends, I can't travel myself, but my friends coming sometimes and saying that you really feel it, this tense among the people when you go to coffee shop, when you talk to people.
Of course.
You always avoid talking about the situation because someone could be listening you and could also report you through a hotline. Government also made a hotline, report people who are belong to this group, that group. So
it's such a shame, you know, because as you mentioned before, Turkey was really viewed as a country that was stable.
Yes.
For a long time, no, and you know, it was one of those shining examples of how a secular state could exist and could modernize, could progress. And it's very sad to hear things like this happen in your country. You say 40,000 people in jail, 17 universities shut down, and all this. It breaks the heart.
Yes, that's definitely. Well, simply we could understand if those people who are involved into coup, like generals, police, would be in jail, would be suffering.
I was going to ask you about that because you mentioned students and teachers, professors, academics, etc.
That is really no one can understand, and even there is no any evidence that government is with what they are blaming with those people. Recently, a journalist left Turkey before the coup. Then the police came to his house to arrest him since he is not in the house. Police asked, "Okay, we will take your wife." Or your child, like, you know, associating the crime with the others,
Yes,
maybe
yes.
your family members.
Yes,
That is
very,
very
very
sad.
sad to hear. Very
Yeah,
sad to hear. But
yeah.
you know, hopefully things will improve for your country. What are you optimistic about the future?
Very much
Very good.
optimistic, very much hopeful about my beautiful country. I love very much my country. It is my
Well, I love your
country.
country too.
Yes.
I wouldn't be going as often as I did to
Yes,
Turkey.
yes,
Huh?
yes. How I wish to continue to organize trips to promote my own culture, because I am sure, you know, there are a lot of stereotypes, there are a lot of biases about Turkey until you see. So after visiting Turkey, people are saying, can we go again? Can we organize the trip again? So
Absolutely.
This is such a
absolutely.
country, yes.
And like I like to say that Turkey has so much to offer for anyone and everyone. I mean, this, as I said, it's so diverse
Yes.
that there really is something to do for everyone, and very interesting because
Yeah.
it's changed hands so often. As you said,
Yes.
Christianity was there, then the Ottomans came, and
Yes.
then wave after wave of changes, and
Yes.
that's what makes Turkey
Yeah, yeah.
different. Your food, your cuisine, the
Yes,
people,
yes.
the architecture.
We Turkish people always say diversity is richness. We never find someone who is not belong to our religion or denomination as a stranger. So we find this richness. So if Turkey today until now became a very beautiful country, maybe this accepting everyone as they are. That is,
Very good.
yeah, one of them.
Very good. So Hans, we're going to take a break, but when we come back, your Vice President, Selim, is going to join us, and he's going to talk more about the PDF and the dialogues you guys do and the projects, etc., etc.
Okay.
And then finally, before we go, we're going to have you back again to talk about other exchanges you guys are doing at the PDF.
Sure.
All right. So guys, stick around because more of Turkey and the Pacific Dialogue Foundation when Global Village returns.